Good morning, everybody. How you doing? I'm good. Thank you for asking. We've, I say cleaned. We took the end out. So there was a sofa here, and two big things here. I'm slowly but surely just rearranging this. So I'm going to clean all this up. Move all these weights down here. Move this over here. And then I'm going to put the T-bar row probably in here somewhere. But we've got a lot more shite in here. You ever find whenever you clean stuff out, you always find way more things that you thought that you would ever have in your life? Yeah, this is the case of this room right now. We're going to take you through the blood work today, but first, push. Pre-workout today, Attack. This is my go-to. Very cheap, very consistent, pretty decent panel on it. But most importantly, very cheap and very consistent. Josh Tank gets you more discount off it. We've also mixed it with a little bit of a pump. Now this is Wobb's Pre from my boy Mo Samuels. One of his better products for sure. Like one of the really, really good products that he's made. Should be really good. A little bit of a combo before we get into push.
Let's go. Up. Good.
Come on then, big boy. Let's go then.
Up. Finish it. Good. 3.
Come on, drive me in. Come on. Come
Up.
on. Yeah. Come on.
Finish.
Yes.
I was 150 flat bench today. Come on, man.
Arm.
Up. Good.
Come on then, Josh. Come on.
Up.
Yes.
Good.
Let's go then. Come on then. Come on. Come on then. Let's fuck it out of it then. Come on. Come on. Yes. Let's go. Come on. Drive. Go on. Come on now. Come on.
Up.
Come on.
Elbows
Hey,
in.
I'm not
Elbows in.
You have your great PC well.
You feel my inspiration.
Must get lost on this again. It's getting better, but I'm still there. Go with that domestic, yeah? We'll do that just for the full minute.
Yeah, just come on.
Okay, boy, there's there.
Come on then, come on. Come on then, Josh. Come on. Alright, come in, let's go then. Come on! Come on! Good.
Hang on. It's pressing up. There you are, recording. Yeah, you're recording, it's all right.
Go down. One minute. Hang on, let's shoot. Speak back, he's when my cocks are erected, I go up the foot.
But just for the second half of this, just be a little bit quiet. Otherwise, I'm talking about erect penises in my video. It's all good, bro.
Sharon's carrot.
All right then. So before we get into this blood work, I really want to emphasize, I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified. I'm not a doctor, but this is my experience. I feel like I've done some pretty good research into these markers. I also have people interpret my markers for me. This is my blood results. So my last blood results were in January. Since then, I did a 12-week blast where I did a higher amount of performance-enhancing drugs, and I don't encourage the use of. I did that for 12 weeks, and then it'd been about 12 weeks again where I couldn't get a blood test, obviously because of coronavirus. But in that time, I reduced into just above a physiological range. So I was, in fact, not technically cruising. I call it a modified cruise because a cruise, technically speaking, should be within a physiological range, which means where you would sit naturally. If you had natural testosterone, whereabouts on that scale would you sit? That's where you should be cruising at, and that's where TRT would be pretty much. I call it TRT. So I've been just above TRT for the last 13 weeks, 14 weeks. And this is where I sit. So as you can see, first up, hemoglobin is quite high. I'm supra physiological here, so you can imagine I have supra physiological amount of blood. Now, with higher blood does come higher oxygen, so potentially performance can increase. I have felt a performance increase, but you can also get some side effects of having high hemoglobin. For example, you do have thicker blood. You have more chance of clotting. You also can have some fatigue, mental fatigue. You can also have some heart palpitations. You can also have some hot flushes. I've had a few of those symptoms. So 2 days ago, today being Thursday the 9th, so on the 7th, I had a private bloodlet company come to my house, and I let about 650 milliliters of blood. So my hemoglobin will now be in place, so there's nothing to worry about here. My white blood cells were in a good place. My clotting status was actually in a good place, considering my blood is high. Kidney health. Now, the issue with creatinine and EGFR as bodybuilders is that those numbers are constantly skewed by the protein that we eat, by the damage we do to our muscles. A lot of this pressure goes through the kidney, so these readings aren't necessarily really accurate unless you're taking a good time off, having a low protein diet, and you can see where your baseline levels are. But inevitably, mine are slightly skewed here. Creatinine is a little bit high. It's only just above, so I'm not too worried about it. But EGFR here is 55.95 now. They put 60 as pretty low, and 55 is pretty low. Like, I do have some kidney damage there for sure, I'm sure. I've taken a urinary albumin test literally today, which I'll send off, which is probably a little bit more accurate to see how stressed my kidneys are. This is definitely something I need to address. My blood pressure had been a little bit high as well, and obviously running high hemoglobin, having more blood, having a higher blood pressure puts more pressure on your kidneys, so it makes sense that my EGFR is a little bit low. This is something that I need to address before I go for any other push-up. So I have now reduced into a physiological range, and I've donated blood, and I am going to stay there, to get this marker to a place where I know that I'm content with it. And that's the reality of it. I am doing damage to myself. These blood tests prove it. Naturally, I think an important thing to take from blood tests is your general genetics and where you've been. I think that this highlights the importance of getting blood tests regularly, because you can see where you sat. Like, I can see where I sat naturally. I had all these tests done when I was natural multiple times. So I can, my EGFR when I was natural was 65. So it's lost 10 points. It's actually been to 68 while I've been on steroids. One of my blood tests shown, but ultimately what I'm doing is going to put more pressure on my kidneys. Naturally, I already had a low pressure there, so I'm probably got a predisposition to high blood pressure. I've probably got a predisposition to this, so I need to take more care of it. This is going to kill me eventually, so you've got to be conscious of it. Liver health, I'm fine with this. There's only a couple points up on ALT, alanine transferase. Again, I was using higher amounts, so for it to just be a little bit, liver being very, very regenerative as a tissue, I'm okay with it being here. It's going to come back down now if we've pulled back down. SHBG obviously is consistent with using TRT, exogenous hormone. Diabetes, no risk there, which is cool. In fact, I'm towards, I don't even need to, so I'm not too bad on HbA1c at all. I'm right in the middle. Cholesterol, now for me, I'm pretty happy with this. Again, this goes on those corresponding results. When I was natural, I had 0.98 HDL. So actually, yeah, okay, I am down 0.15 and it's not that high. Some people have 2 or 3. Again, I'm probably predispositioned to having a low HDL because I eat really, really healthy. Even when I was natural, I was pretty healthy as well. So I've always naturally had a HDL. I've always naturally had quite a low HDL, but I'm pretty happy with it being at 0.83 considering I'm in a super physiological range, so I'm going to bring that down. Again, like I said, to a physiological range, so we're going to see if we can improve that. LDL is in a good place, all things considering. So, you know, we're just going to address a few of these issues here and stay there for a while, and then we'll go. Again, creatine kinase under muscle health, it's going to be skewed. Of course, we're breaking down muscle. Muscle protein breakdown is rife in bodybuilders, of course, so you can understand. Iron status and thyroid is fine. And then again, coming to my hormones, obviously my follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone are suppressed because I'm on exogenous hormone. Estradiol is pretty much correlating to that testosterone. Bearing in mind I'm taking 150 milligrams of testosterone, so this leaves me at 38.5. That, you know, the natural range being 30. That's pretty much where I wanted to fall. Estrogen is just high on that range, and we're fine with it being there. Also using something that's non-aromatizing, so we don't need to worry too much about that there. Prolactin in a good place, prostate in a good place. So all in all, you know, other than the kidneys that we need to address, other than the HDL that we need to address, I'm pretty happy with the results. I'm sure lots of you are going to be YouTube doctors and say how horrible they are. I understand that, and I think that something really, really important to consider is there is no healthy way to do this. I would never encourage anyone to do this, ever, because I'm not adding years to my life, put it that way, right? There is no way what I am doing, because I'm not using therapeutic doses, because it's not what bodybuilders do, there is no way what I'm doing is healthy or safe. There are ways we can mitigate it. There are ways that we can try and reduce how harmful it is, but ultimately it's still harmful. So we've got to be conscious of it. And I think that having companies like MediChecks available, anyone in the UK, you can use them. You can use Josh Bridgman for discount. You're going to get 20% off. And it's at home testing. You can pay for a nurse to come take your blood. You can do it privately. You can go to a phlebotomist, whatever you need. But we've got the information out there to take control of our health, and I think it's really, really important. That's why I do these videos, because I think it's important to see that what I do is not healthy, but there are ways that we can make it less unhealthy, and there are ways that people can be healthier because we have the information. It's to my phone. They text it to you in the morning, all your results. And they give you a doctor to interpret it, so you don't need to interpret it yourself. So be conscious of what you're doing. Any of my users out there, anyone thinking about it, take this as a warning. It ain't going to make you healthier, but of course, it is a risk versus reward, and you've got to make that decision for yourself in your own equation. So I hope this offers you a little bit of insight into this world. I appreciate it. It's not a world that everyone's in that wants to get in, but it's part of the world that I'm in. So I hope you enjoy this one. We'll see you soon. Peace and love, everybody. Drop a like, subscribe. Enjoy the drop. Bye-bye.